People don't want perfect leaders. They want real ones. There's a reason why leadership can feel exhausting. It's not just the meetings or the pressure, it's the constant performance. The pressure to be on, to appear confident, to have all the answers. But here's the truth. People don't want perfect leaders. They want real ones. In this video, we dive into what authentic leadership actually means and why self-awareness is the foundation that supports that. So, for years, leadership was modeled as strength, charisma, and certainty. And what you can see in today's world is those masks are cracking. Today, leaders who are comfortable with admitting their mistakes, who can say, hey, I'm still figuring this out, who show vulnerability, they're building deeper loyalty and stronger connections and therefore stronger cultures. So let's be real. Authenticity isn't about oversharing or being unfiltered or bringing all of your emotional turmoil to work. It's about aligning your values with your actions. It's about aligning your inner voice with your outer voice. And it's about aligning your role with the reason why you're doing this work, with your purpose. The bottom line is you can't be authentic if you don't know who you are. And that's where self-awareness comes in, because self-awareness is going to help you to catch yourself in old habits or when you get stuck in reactive patterns. It's going to help you recognize when you're driven by fear or by ego and how that's affecting your decisions. It's also going to help you to see what impact do I have on others. So you're able to distinguish between what you intend to do and how you impact others. Ultimately, it helps you to lead with more clarity, even in messy situations. So I want to give you an idea of what this looks like in practice. I used to work with a manager, and she was known for micromanaging every project. And she didn't even realize, but we found out that it stemmed from this deeper fear of being blamed for failure. It's like she was trying to avoid that at all costs. And once she understood that and we were able to unpack that, she began shifting in being more transparent. She started having open conversations with her team. She started owning her triggers. And what happened was the team felt more trusted. She felt more calm. And the result was that they were actually able to grow their client portfolio, the result that they'd been craving for a long time. As a marketing team, they really relied very heavily on that level of open communication, on sharing hunches, on sharing experiences. But they were in a situation before where no one even dared to speak up to share ideas. Feedback was shunned. And this all had to do with this underlying fear. And so they couldn't move forward together. This example always reminds me of the fact that self-awareness isn't like a nice to have. I call it a survival skill in leadership. Here's why. A few years ago, we started being introduced to the term VUCA, VUCA. And a VUCA world stands for a world that is characterized by volatility, by uncertainty, by complexity, and by ambiguity. So that's where VUCA comes from, and that's what it stands for. Now we've actually moved into an even worse version, if you will, BANI. A BANI world means brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. Now let me just translate that into what that means for you as a leader. It means you won't always have clear answers or find anybody that can give them to you. It means you're going to be tested by emotional pressure, by this unpredictability. And it also means that the old playbooks won't always work. So in other words, the only thing that you have to navigate you through a landscape with so much complexity, so much uncertainty, and no real answers is the ability to stay centered, to stay grounded, and to stay aligned with yourself. That is the only way that you can lead yourself through this and you can lead others. One thing all powerful leaders have in common. It's that they work on themselves constantly. They do not give up on growth. And they don't do that because they want to become someone else. It's not because of some dissatisfaction with who they are or a drive to perfection to always do better or be better. It's to become more fully who they actually are and become more adept at leveraging what they have. And so I want to translate this to a simple test, something you can do for yourself in the upcoming days. Try to write down 3 things that triggered you this week. It doesn't have to be anything big. Try and think about the situation, and maybe you want to journal this, maybe you want to use like a speech app. What did it teach you about your values? What did it teach you about your needs? What did it teach you about your fears? Self-awareness really starts with paying attention. Let me know in the comments what you're currently learning about yourself in your leadership journey. I'd love to hear from you. See you next time, and as always, lead with your heart, never stop growing.